So, okay. All right. The topic for today, which I have lost because I've done a lot of things since then. Do you have it?
When sex is feels like pressure instead of pleasure.
Oh, yes. Oh, I thought that was such a good one. I think what I want to say about this first and foremost is you are not alone. This is a common issue. And so please don't think, first and foremost, please don't think you're a freak, abnormal, whatever the words, crazy, defective, broken. Please don't feel that way. And I know say, please don't feel that way. Is it gonna work? But okay, so let me say it from my CBT framework. Please work very hard to change those particular thoughts because that's not true. What I want you to know is that this is a very common issue. You are normal, and we just tackle this like we tackle everything else. Also, I would like to say, historically, in a lot of cultures, the primary marital relationship didn't take the brunt of sexual pressure. And so that has changed throughout cultures, and I won't go into that because there's all kind of things and everything. So I'd also like to say romantic relationships and how we see them today are asked to carry a lot more than I feel like they ever have had to carry before in history. And so that accounts for some of the pressure as well.
Yeah.
And so, and we're less in community now. And so when people were in community and they grew up with their grandmamas in the house and parents in the house and children and sisters and brothers we shared the responsibility of a household that isn't shared today. So that's a lot of pressure, trying to be everything. And so go ahead, jump in.
I think the pressure was always kind of there for women. It just has changed.
Yeah.
So the pressure was first to have an heir, have a boy to carry on the legacy. If you didn't have a boy, you were useless. Women have been killed for not having boys when it's actually the men's sperm that dictates what gender the baby is. The woman has no control over that. And so there's nothing to do with that. And so that is a lot of pressure. And then you were talking about community. Community can also have a pressurizing example as well, in that if your parents are around or you live with a bunch of family, when are you getting pregnant? When are you having babies? When is this happening? What are you doing? How are you pleasing your husband? Whereas now we have a bit more privacy in a lot of our marital relations, and people are not always, but for the most part, more minding their own business, because we realize what a stressful thing that it puts on the relationship.
Yeah, definitely so. Okay. Now let me try to get this back into something that's actually...
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. You did great. I love it. Amanda says hello, by the way. She wasn't able to make it today.
Oh, yeah.
Let's pivot a little bit and talk about what the pressure actually feels like in the everyday.
Yeah.
You know, that feeling of, you hear people say, sex is like a task on my to-do list. I feel like I need to perform for my partner, which is a whole thing, which we're going to dive deep into.
Yeah.
I should just go along with it.
I should be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
It should feel normal. I think there's a lot with purity culture where we are instructed, don't think about sex. Sex is bad. Sex is evil. Sex outside of marriage is wrong. And then as soon as you get married, it's now become a pole dancer. Like it's know all of these tips and tricks and how to please your man, when they've been coached for the longest time to not think about it, to not be a sexual person.
Yeah. Also, I talk to my couples a lot about sex coming from that sex can come from different places. So there's this idea that, like, at the same time my partner does, regardless of what we're going happening, I'm supposed to spontaneously, I got to look at my groin, spontaneously from my groin have desire at the same exact time that my partner is. Most of the time after we've worked all day or been out all day or
dealing with kids all day, been touched all day.
Right? 55 decisions. And now I'm just supposed to spontaneously want sex at the same time my partner does. And so I'd like to normalize that spontaneous sexual desire from your groin is only one way to get there.
And it usually doesn't actually come from your groin. It usually comes from your brain.
That part. And when it does, usually there are a lot of other things in play. Like you feel good. You had a good day. You have energy. You feel connected with your partner.
The dishes are done. The laundry is done. The kids are at their grandparents'.
We're on a fabulous date, which is outside of the house where I'm not worried about who's going to clean these dishes up. Where I didn't worry about having to cook the food and burning in at the same time because I was also trying to wash a load of clothes. Like all of those things. And so even spontaneous isn't spontaneous. And I just want you guys to understand that. All right. But I just accept that sex and connection can come from different pathways. Like it just doesn't have to be this like almost like TV sex thing. This is so unrealistic. And so you're normal. You are not alone. What do you want to say next, Jess? Go.
Oh, I'm just like, I've talked with a lot of my clients around when we think of the culture that we live in, how many times are you given triggers to eat? Like seeing other people eat, seeing advertisements for restaurants, seeing billboards for restaurants, like food is advertised so many times to where even if you push down that urge of eating, of like, now's not the right time, you're going to get another external trigger. And like, oh yeah, I was hungry. I did want this. Whereas sex, not so much. If you're driving down the interstate and you're like, oh, I am kind of horny, but then somebody cuts me off in traffic or I get lost or I'm late for an appointment, that urge was not able to be acted on in that moment and we've lost it. And so if we don't have other external triggers, either in the clothes we wear or in the media that we watch or consume, in the things that we're listening to, we have to fill our worlds with those external triggers in order to help with responsive desire, in order to help with spontaneous desire.
Yes, definitely. So one of the huge things that we teach as sex therapists is bridges to desire. And like, what are the things that will get you there? And so, for example, I'm going to piggyback off of Jessica's food example that we just used. If I'm at a restaurant and I'm not hungry, but I'm sitting with people and everybody orders delicious smelling food that also looks good, then I will probably be like, yeah, let me order what they got. Right? Because I want it now. I'm in the mood for it now. I have found hunger. Like a kid finds the space for ice cream when they're full. I have found it. Hey, I'd love for that to happen with sex. Is you put yourself in a space to see if desire can come, and that could simply be you guys sit on the couch, turn off electronics, and have a conversation together. It could be a foot rub. It could be a walk around the block. It could be one of my couples. I love this. They sneak away from the house and they go to racetrack to have ice cream in the car for 15 minutes. You know, and it's a very real practical thing that they do to connect. They get to get ice cream without kids, and it makes them happy. And they just do it for like 15 minutes. This is not because they don't want the kids to leave the kids at home too long. You know, they're not neglectful parents. But the coupleship also needs to have some nurturing too. And so that could be it. And so please identify what your bridges to desire are. Sit down and think, what is that thing that's equivalent to me sitting at the table with people who are eating great food and I'm not? Like, what would make me want to do that? And have that conversation with your partner. And so that sex becomes an invitation and not an obligation. It opens it up to a wonderful shared experience and not, you better do this thing for me. You're not doing this thing for me. Or like, oh, I hate that I have to do this thing for you. Like Esther Perel talks about sex being a playful place you go to, like a kind of like a mini vacation to leave. And I think in a world where right now you can have multiple decisions before 9 a.m. in the morning, multiple decisions. So decision fatigue is a real place. Being a responsible adult is a real thing that you don't get to take off from. So I was joking with one of my clients yesterday, and they were saying they spent 4 hours planning for their kids' summer and the different camps and everything. And they were like it was traumatic. And I was like, actually, that's not traumatic. That's regular life. And so that is just being a regular adult with kids. This is not trauma, people. And so I say that to say is, as an adult, you have some really hard days sometimes, or things that just feel hard to you sometimes, especially those of us who struggle with some either ADHD or just tiredness and lack of concentration. That could be anything, low iron, all of those things. And so I think we have to identify a place that we can go to and have a little fun. And as a sex therapist, I'd love that to be your sex life. And so I'd want you talking to your partner about how can we invite each other into fun as opposed to pressuring each other into sex. So, okay. All right. What else is coming up for you, Jessica?
Well, and you talked about Esther Perel. I'm actually reading Emily Nagoski's newest book, Come Together.
Is that the Rooms book, The Sex in Rooms? I haven't gotten to that one yet.
Yes. Yeah. The floor plan. And so, what she talks about is not centering desire at all, because we have all had desire that didn't feel good, like either unrequited desire or like I'm desirous of a bigger house or I'm desirous of a newer car and I'm not going to get there. And then that desire feels sour or poisonous in some way. Whereas she focuses on centering pleasure, because the instant that pleasure is no longer pleasure, it's not pleasure anymore. You can't have a bad form of pleasure.
Oh, say that.
Which I think is super important. And what's funny is you talked about all of these things. You just didn't use that word. Walking around the block, connecting with your partner, going to have ice cream in your car. That's a little bit of pleasure. And so once we start with that pleasure, that interest can develop organically of we're starting with pleasure. And that could even be in the bedroom or cuddling at night or holding hands. It's how are we connecting? How are we providing pleasure for our partner? How are we seeking pleasure for ourselves with our partner? And that's where it starts to see it might lend to sex. It may not lend to sex. Maybe you're just having a romantic moment that you feel connected, and that's going to help with sex in the future.
Yeah, very, very much so. But it was excellent. Okay. I'm going to pivot a little bit and I'm going to talk about the thin line between the unfortunate comorbidity. I'm sorry, that's a big therapy word, but I can't think of another word, of how sexual performance goes together and the pressure for you to perform for your partner and how it goes together with resentment. And so this to me goes back to communication with couples, making sure you know how to communicate, how you communicate. I want you cleaning up your side of the street first, how you communicate with your partner in a way that doesn't make them feel pressure, that doesn't make them feel wrong, in a way that doesn't make them feel criticized. And I would also love for you to notice, as I invite my partner, as I talk to my partner, what are their reactions to you? Like you can, it doesn't just like you've seen this happen. Like you've been in session and one partner is talking and the other partner is physically shrinking and the other person keeps talking and talking and like almost getting bigger as their partner's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And so we as therapists have had to say, hey, wait a minute. Take a deep breath and read the room. Your message isn't being heard and received. And so for that person, I want you to know, not every relationship, but you could be building up a lot of resentment. Your partner's resentful toward you for that pressure. And I know that's not what you want. You want connection with your partner. You want to have a wonderful physical experience with your partner. And you're trying to express how it could be better for you, how it could be better for you guys, how it could be better for the relationship. I just want you to notice when that's not working. And so let's make sure we're starting with appreciation and compliments and gratitude. Let's make sure that we're talking in the we form. How can we do this better? I'm wondering, like curiosity, and not being upset or furious or blaming or anything. Please stay away from any characterizations that would shut your partner down and create this pressure. Like if you're like, well, you're just frigid, or you are, what's another one people use? They just throw you must be asexual. You must be gay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not going to get you more sex. Just that like you're literally calling your partner names.
Yeah.
That is not going to get you more sex. What we want you to focus on is the invitation to work together as a physical partnership, sensual partnership, erotic partnership, and doing that. And what that is going to take, I'm going to write a LinkedIn article on this today, is you taking leadership in your relationship. So as a leader, I don't blame my people for being bad. As a leader, I say, how can I support your growth? At least that's what I'd like a leader to do.
Well, and yeah, I think using that term in this place in society can be really, really tricky, because that feels like it's very akin to respect that people confuse with power over people. Like, you need to show me respect. Yes, you are a human. You deserve my respect, but I should not acquiesce to you because you want power over me as a form of respect.
Yeah, I don't think I realized how triggering that word is for some people, because when I always think from the mindset of almost like servant leadership. And so when I'm asking you to be a leader, I'm asking you to respect your people. I'm asking you to listen to what people are saying and act accordingly in their best interest.
Leading with curiosity.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Those are the words. But at the end of the day, working with your partner, like, and it's sometimes we see it's almost like sometimes both people in the partnership retreat back to their little kid hurt selves, as opposed to, coming together in an adult partnership where we can talk about hard things. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. What else is coming up for you?
I think a lot of times, like, I think about some of my male clients who have a lot of anxiety around performing and making sure that they're good. And I think a lot of that comes from lack of conversation with your partner around what they are wanting out of sex. We have this media, one narrative driven way of what sex should look like or feel like or be like. And it always needs an erect penis, and it always needs penetration, and it always needs, X, Y, and Z. And that may not be fun for your partner. Like, they may not really care about penetration or whether or not your erection is involved. Like, some people do and some people don't. It just depends on the person that you're having sex with. So be very aware of, it doesn't matter what sex other people are having. It's the sex that you and your partner are wanting. And like Emily Nagoski talks about in Come Together, nobody wants bad sex. Like, nobody is craving bad sex. So like, people want the sex that they like, and liking sex is a big part of that. And so having that conversation of, what would your ideal sex look like? What would you want to happen? How would you want it to flow? How much time would you want spent on that? There's so many narratives of like, well, I need to last for hours. God, no. Get out of, no, absolutely not. And I don't think a lot of men understand that is a man's version of what sex should look like, not necessarily a woman's version of there's chafing involved, friends. Like, I'm going to get cramps. Yes. You're not going to get laid for like at least 2 weeks at that point. Like, no. Like, I'd much rather more frequent and less duration than a marathon session that I can't walk for a week.
Oh gosh, there's so much I want to say to that. This is what I'd like to say. I think I had a wonderful couple one time, and the husband was saying, I think we'd have a better sex life if she had an orgasm. What can we do to get her an orgasm? And the wife said, respect. And I think we went on and we talked about some other things, and he brought it back again, like, but I really feel like if we can get her a good orgasm, like, I think things will be different. What can we do to get her a good orgasm? And she said, respect.
Well, and I think, again, that's like the respect of, like, what does respect mean in that, that situation?
So was about the third time he said it, I was like, okay. I hear you really asking for something, and I hear her really answering you.
And you're not listening.
The answer is not what you're thinking it should be. You're not hearing the answer. And so I want to share that story with couples, because you've got to be talking about sex. Because that's one way this pressure gets built up to the way it explodes, because there's no honest conversation about you're wanting this, I'm wanting this. Where's the meat in the middle? What does that mean? And in this particular conversation, she was saying, I cannot have a great sexual experience with you if I don't feel respected outside of the bedroom. That's it for me. And so that's where this pressure was coming from. And it was building up into this really crazy, odd thing. And so as we're winding down here, I want you to know, because there's more than one way up the mountain. So each couple may be different in how they move past it. But if either one of you guys are feeling pressure, you got to sit down and have a conversation, a real conversation. Invite each other into how can we be better erotic partners together, physically intimate partners together. This is what I'm looking for. What are you looking for? That curiosity. But it starts with the conversation. And with the conversation, so you got to talk. You also got to listen. And when like a partner response doesn't like compute, like respect does not compute. Like it just wasn't computing.
Yeah.
And we all have had those terms where somebody said something, we're just like, what? Like, it's just like, it won't even go in. Like, it just doesn't repute. Is you got to ask more questions. You got to say, hey, I just heard you say respect. I don't understand how respect gets you an orgasm. Okay, I don't. And then really break it down. Also, when you guys are breaking things down with each other, don't yuck my yum. Don't yuck my yum. Listen with curiosity. Seek for solutions. And so, please don't make your partner feel bad. Like your partner should not feel bad coming out of this conversation. Because if they do, they're not going to want to have a conversation with you again. So, yes. All right. Jessica.
Yeah. I also want to point out that like pleasure does not have to, you have to do the same thing that I want to do, or we need to have the kind of sex where both people are getting pleasure. Maybe I'm just not as into it as much, but me getting pleasure is providing pleasure for you. Yeah. And how can we look at that as just because we don't both orgasm doesn't mean I'm not receiving pleasure. Just because we're focusing on your needs versus my needs doesn't mean I'm not getting pleasure. And so being aware of sometimes I may not be wanting to be touched or wanting that, but I'm okay giving pleasure for you because I love you and I want to make sure that you're happy and that gives me pleasure. And so being aware that we don't all have to be doing the same thing at the same time.
Yeah. It's a, what's that old statement? I think it was saying something like fair in marriage doesn't mean equal.
It's equitable, not equal.
Equitable. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and how are things equitable? Like, what do we need for each person to feel like they're on even field?
Yeah, that's really good. Okay. All right. Closing us down. I want you guys to know that if this conversation is hard for you to have as a couple, we are here to help you. Like, we literally do this 5 days a week. Some of us 6. this is our full-time job. We've gone to school. We've been trained with a master's program and so many additional classes and books. Like I can't even name all of the information that we have. And so we can make it easier. And even if it isn't like our skill making it easier, I have had 2 or 3 of my couples, but one couple I remember particularly, I was like, do y'all realize that like I'm not really doing therapy or anything here? Like you you could have this conversation at home. Like I don't think I'm adding value. And what they said to me was like, we can't have this conversation at home. They're like, we hear you that no, you're not doing therapy with us right now, but we don't know why, but we can't have this conversation at home. As smooth as you just saw it go, if it happened at home, it would not have gone that smoothly. And so I don't know if it's being outside of the household. I don't know if it's having a third party present and maybe they could feel a little bit more safer that like if they did get into the ditch, I could pull them out. Like, wait, hold on. This is what I think they were trying to
pause.
Pause. So I don't know if that did it or anything. And so I say that to clients to say, some people think you got to go exactly at 10. Do you have to?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay, good. I think like therapy is therapy, but also sometimes therapy is just a safe place for you. And this is, and for some couples, this is a hard, scary question, hard, scary topic that they haven't been able to make through on their own because of hurt feelings. And so one of my couples right now, they're not having sex yet, which I really want them to be, but they both verbalize, but we are talking like we've never been able to talk before. Yeah. And so we feel connected like we've never felt connected before. And I'm like, okay, I'll take it as a win. But I really want y'all to have sex, but I'll take it as a win. And so, so there's hope for you. Because I think some couples, when they can't make it through a conversation, is feeling like pressure. They don't know what to do. They're feeling like just is the way it's going to be. And there's hope for you. Okay, just last thoughts, and we'll let you and the people go.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is also figuring out what your resources, you don't know what you don't know. And so checking with sex therapists, what questions do I need to be asking? What topics do I need to be discussing? What do I need to check on? Like, how do I check on those things? What is the verbiage that I need to use to make sure that I don't hurt their feelings? And so like, that is what we're providing. That is what we're able to give you, is how we can ask some of these questions to where we're not trampling all over each other's feelings.
Definitely so. All right, fabulous people. Thanks for staying 1 minute longer. I appreciate it. You have a fabulous day. All right.
Thank you. Bye.